In this video, we're going to talk about, because no one really knows, the notion of how long neurotransmitter receptor sites might be positively optimized from nootropics, and kind of leading into taking nootropics and then having longer term benefits of good brain function when you stop taking the nootropics. Coming up. All right, 2 minutes of product promotion. Number one, look, we wrote a powerful guide on Noopept. It's a Noopept Pro stack list. Thing is amazing. Basically 4 years of concentrated Noopept experimentation to try to find the best stacks. Folks are always having a hard time. Like, look, I took Noopept and it was great, but there was some sort of weird off feeling in the end, and it wasn't balanced. I'm trying to find the best way. Look, I took a long time. I did the work for you. I created very, very highly effective. It's like I did a very methodological approach to creating effective Noopept stacks. And I wrote them in a guide, and you can get it at livecortex.com. It's called the Noopept Pro Stack List. That's on the advanced level in terms of novice, advanced, intermediary of nootropics. Pretty advanced guide, but anyone can read it and get the stacks from it. On the novice end, basically new to nootropics, we wrote a guide called Smarter, Better, Faster that explains how to use nootropics, capsuling nootropics, cycling nootropics, explains some of the racetams, Alcar, uridine, tyrosine, theacrine, all the usual suspects. Get that at livecortex.com. It's also digital, so you can download it on your mobile device. Then we wrote one that's pretty much on the advanced side between intermediary and advanced. It is called the Racetam God Guide that gives you 80 plus Racetam stacks. It just lists of powerful Racetam stacks that have taken me almost a decade to figure out. Also digital. And then look, we've got a stack. It's called Cortex. It is a productivity stack. It is productivity centric. I created it building a business. I created essentially for entrepreneurs too, but everyone who wants massive brain function and productivity can benefit from it. Get Cortex at livecortex.com. And then we do stack consulting, nootropics consulting. No one on the planet does that. I do it, okay? 9 years in, I can help folks formulate a stack, shave things off their stack, ask me questions for 40 minutes, whatever you want. 40-minute call with me, 15 additional email correspondences. Get all this stuff at livecortex.com. Okay, so look, I think I just want to first make the statement that I think, this is just my opinion, of course, because I don't have any proof of this, because look, who do I have that's going to fund $2 million, a $2 million study to study my brain over the course of many years taking nootropics? Nobody, right? But I can tell you this. I think nootropics optimize a person's brain over the long term for a considerable period of time after they stop taking the nootropics. And I'm not sure how long those gains last. If you've watched the Limitless movie, you know that Bradley Cooper in the end actually figured out a way to lock in some of the gains of the Limitless compound without the side effects. And I can honestly say, whatever. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here. I've been in the game for a long time. Folks that know me personally understand, my relationship with nootropics. My brain works better now at 33 than it did when I was 25, okay? This is quantifiable. I can take IQ tests, I can do memory tests, I can do online battery of otherwise testing. My productivity is different, my verbal fluency is different. It is much more enhanced than it used to be. So for me, look, testing things and having some sort of proof is a good thing, especially for skeptics who rely on only one rigid way of scientific thinking. For me, I know my own body and brain. I don't need it for myself, only to prove it to other people. My brain works better from taking nootropics for such a long time, to the point where I take less these days, I cycle more these days, and my brain still works awesomely. There are days where I just won't take nootropics, and I'll function like I do when I'm taking nootropics. Okay, so that's the general notion I want to get across to folks. I do believe that over time, taking nootropics is putting your brain in a place where, because of the neurotransmitter receptor modulations and other neurotransmitter optimization, actions that the nootropic has on your brain, that they improve the brain over time. Okay, one of the things we know about modafinil is that it works on improving these sleep-inhibiting peptides called orexin neurons. And look, that's what it's doing. It's improving those sleep-inhibiting peptides, and that's one of the reasons you get wakefulness. We know that uridine monophosphate, which is why we put it in Cortex, works on increasing phosphatidylcholine. Ray Kurzweil, the futurist from Google, and who's like a futurist, takes nootropics, takes a bunch of pills every day, says that phosphatidylcholine, which is essentially the substance, a phospholipid that makes the outer structure of brain cells, it's called the cell membrane, is one of the most important things you can make sure you get via supplementation or via sort of combining different things to make phosphatidylcholine. Uridine does that. Uridine in conjunction with a choline source, particularly CDP choline, will help the brain build phosphatidylcholine. And aracetam is an allosteric modulator of AMPA receptors, so makes it does not cause sort of negative side effects on the receptor, but it does allow signal strength of glutamate particularly to flow through that AMPA receptor, and that provides a stimulatory response. What happens longer term when that happens? Okay, so you know what I mean? Like everybody knows that, like, folks that take benzodiazepines, they have long-term changes in their brain. For years, they're having, and these are not good changes. Like, folks who are anxious, they rely on phenibut or other benzodiazepines, or other GABA receptor modulators, etc. They have a hard time getting their good solid feeling back, these sorts of things. And so we know that this happens, okay? Nootropics do it, they seem to do it, as far as I can tell, in the reverse end. Okay, they positively modulate neurochemistry in a way that sticks with you for a long time. These are optimizations of neurotransmitter receptors and neurotransmitter systems function. As far as anyone can tell, look, I do not have an electron microscope in this, so I'm not doing functional MRI. I cannot study this stuff. But I am a case for it. I've been taking nootropics for a long time, and I think a lot of other people you could see that have done that. Like, I don't know, man. I think Tim Ferriss's brain works better because he took nootropics for a long time. I don't think he takes them anymore. Dave Asprey, yeah, I think Asprey's brain works better because the dude's been taking nootropics for such a long time. I know my brain works better. There's no contest in my mind. It's just like, again, if I were to have to prove it to other people, I would need the studies, but I already know my brain works better. I know my own mind. I'm a meditator, so that makes me super aware of what's happening in my brain. I even know folks that I've talked to, because we get to talk to so many people because we do consulting on nootropics, and we have this nootropics channel, Nootropics Company, that literally get side effects when they take nootropics now because they've optimized acetylcholine receptors or dopamine receptors so much from particular compounds that their brain just doesn't want it anymore. The brain's going, dude, you optimized everything, okay? Stop. We're awesome. And so this can happen. So that's my general assessment of it. I don't want to make this like a hypey video or something. I'm a very logical person. I don't know if some of you know this, but folks I'm looking that think is this dude just making stuff up? I'm a serious guy. I was a 19 Delta in the United States Army, fought a year in Iraq, did a lot of counterterrorism operations with the United States Army with a particularly elite level reconnaissance combat platoon, scout platoon in the United States Army. I was a 19 Delta. And so I'm a serious guy. I come from the serious world. I come from the real world. I then, got out, became an entrepreneur, spent a couple years reading cognitive science books, got into nootropics and meditation, and then, eventually created a commercial stack, and I've been fascinated with brain performance optimization ever since. I've experimented with everything from, meditation nootropics to transcranial direct current stimulation, right? At high capacity, measuring everything, and trying to quantify my improvements in brain performance as a result. So I'm not just some random guy talking about this. I do truly believe that nootropics improve the brain over time, and that when one cycles off for long periods of time, because I've done this 4 or 5 months at a time, the brain still retains some of those gains. And the real question is, how long do they last? Ultimately, everything I just said we can't know the answer to unless we study it. But that question particularly is really something that I think I'm interested in finding out. It's hard because I would have to stop taking nootropics to see how the gains last. I don't want to do that. But, maybe sometime in the future I might just take a year, does everything remain awesomely functional within that year? Who the heck knows? But yeah, I definitely think that nootropics affect the brain long term, for better or for worse, but in my experience, absolutely for the better. A lot of other people's experience I talk to for the better, and it is my contention that I think for a disproportionate of folks, nootropics are going to affect their brain positively over time. Thanks for watching. What's up, everybody? Ryan Michael Bowler here. Hey, thanks a lot for listening to the video. Thanks a lot for being here. But check this out. If you want to take your nootropics game to a different level, to the pro level, we've got 4 major products for you. Number 1, the NooPep Pro Stackless. I think of all of these, it's the NooPep Pro Stackless and the Racetam God Guide, which we're going to get to in just a second, and we explained in the video, that are the most advanced guides out of our guides. The NooPep Pro Stackless is a digital guide that explains a bunch of powerful sublingual, oral, and nasal Noopep stacks. It also has 20 bonus Racetam stacks. The gist of it is, look, it took me a long time, 4 years of concentrated experience trying to find the best Noopep stacks, putting them in a digital guide. It's like folks try for a while to find a good Noopep stack. They're like, you're weighing stuff out, they're adding different ingredients in, they can't quite get it right. I figured them all out. I figured the God stacks of Noopeps, and I put them in the Noopep Pro stack list. Get that at livecortex.com. It's digital. Then the Smarter, Better, Faster guide, as you see right in front of you here, that is a guide for new folks. If you're new to nootropics, look, any of these guides will suit you, but if you're new to nootropics, this teaches you everything. Choline sources, racetams, stacking racetams, phenibut, research chemicals, modafinil, everything in between. Smarter, Better, Faster is a very powerful, information dense. It's also a lot of stacks in there. Digital guide you can download for anything you have. Then the Racetam God Guide. This is a little on the advanced level, but still, anyone could take it and get the stacks from it, and then can go implement those stacks, make those stacks, capsule the stuff, the ingredients that we've got laid out in the stacks, and then get a benefit from it. It's got 80 plus pro, highly advanced, super effective Racetam stacks. We got aniracetam, piracetam, oxiracetam, phenylpiracetam, nephiracetam, coliracetam, fasoracetam, all the major 8 nootropic racetams in that guide. And then the Cortex stack. The Cortex stack is really like, look, if you're really looking to take your nootropics game to another level, I created that stack to give people an idea of what nootropics really should be. The pre-made stacks that were out there were not that effective. They just weren't. The companies and the folks that own those companies, I'm sure, are great. They just weren't that effective. So I created a stack that was like blowing my mind and allowing my brain to really function well during an 18-hour period building a business. I then converted that to a commercial stack. It is called Cortex. It is strong, okay? Get all that stuff at livecortex.com. That is what you got to do if you really want to take your nootropics game to the next level. Get these guides. Get all these guides. If you're new, get the Smarter, Better, Faster guide. If you want a Noopep stack list that's highly advanced and surgical, get the Noopep Pro stack list. If you want some Racetam stacks that are extremely effective, situationally specific, get the Racetam God Guide. And listen, thanks so much for being with me. Go to livecortex.com and get these products. And my friends, be epic and achieve more.